you've been here for a few days with the summer camp shows. How is it doing what you do and also being a mum? Like, I mean, that is the hardest part of it, wouldn't it be? Traveling and then also getting home and having to put that teapot hat back on?
Yeah, I think it's been really amazing being able to do this, particularly without children, I think, as well. Like, no offence to my gorgeous kids, but the idea of bringing them on a long haul to be here for 5 days is just mental. So yeah, when this is the end of my touring, and this has kind of been touring, but also like I haven't been to Australia for like over 10 years. So this has also been me reintroducing myself to people or introducing myself for the first time because people weren't listening to me 10 years ago. I don't know. So it's been amazing. But when I get back, it's, I need to really buckle up and be mum. Yeah. And just be the person that's taking them to school, that's picking them up. Because I haven't been able to do that really since like September. And I don't want that to ever feel like it's a novelty for them. Like we obviously have these bursts of time where I'm on tour. I never go on tour for longer than kind of 2.5, 3 weeks. But they've all kind of been together quite closely. So I just want to kind of have a bit of a routine when I get back. But yeah, it's really hard. And it's also really hard on my husband because I'm pooped, but I need to like take over.
You're not allowed to be tired when you get home.
No.
And I don't do anything like you do, but when I travel for work, no matter how tired I am, when I walk through there, you've got to be fresh as a daisy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give the performance of your life as best mum in the world. So yeah, I'm excited to see them, of course, and I'm excited to kind of just do the mundane stuff, like not even like doing the food shop.
Yeah. Best of both worlds, though, is kind of the coolest thing.
We're so lucky.
Yeah.
I do the best job in the world. I do so many different jobs. Yeah. It's friggin' cool.
Like Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age always said, like, there's nothing better than going home, but there's nothing better than leaving home too. Like, you got to admit that when you walked out the door to come here, must have been a little sneaky little chuckle.
Look, you know what? It definitely, it was easier this time. I think the first time when I went to America, and it was kind of the first run of the shows that was in October, I was teary when I said goodbye. I felt, and then you get quite used to it, and it's kind of quite fun. And that's why I need to go back to reality.
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. And separate fights and white bottoms and do bath
all the
times.
normal stuff.
Yeah.
Very quickly, we will talk about music, I promise. But being a podcaster, because this is kind of like I've done radio and I've started this, and I think podcasts are like the new children's book. Like now, oh wow, everyone's got a podcast. Well, everyone wrote a children's book for a while. Yeah. Like if you're slightly famous, you released a children's book. Yeah. Give me a mark out of 10. You walked into my digs.
This is incredibly professional. Good. You have 3 cameras.
Yeah.
On the
I think
go.
2 of them work.
No. You've got your own font, your own kind of your own thing. You've got a studio. I mean,
where do you and your mum do yours from?
We do
wherever.
them in our kitchens. Yeah. So it's.
But that's what's good about it. Yeah.
Yeah, our sound's pretty shocking. Because no, it's not shocking. It's amazing. No. Our producer's amazing, but like, it's not necessarily ideal for her having to sort out like us chomping because we eat in our podcast, so we cook a meal for our guest.
Yes.
And so my poor producer's like having to cut out like masticating, disgusting, slurpy, disgusting sounds.
You do love food. I heard a podcast you did only a couple of days ago here in Australia, but in Melbourne when you were, and look, we go nationally, and I used to live in Melbourne, a lot of Melbourne friends, but you kind of said that Melbourne was better than Sydney food-wise.
Well, that's the reputation that Melbourne has, right? And I have to say, I haven't had enough time in Sydney this time, so I had like 4 or 5 days in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And it was the worst weather in the world.
Right.
So what do? You eat.
Yes.
And it was amazing. Now, I have no doubt that Sydney would give me the goods if I had more time.
We got to go on now. There was about 10 years ago where you couldn't get a good cup of coffee here, and as soon as everyone learned how to make coffee by the beach, it's like everyone's like, bang, we're sorted here.
Right. Yeah. I believe in you, Sydney.
Yeah.
But Melbourne killed it.
Melbourne's pretty amazing.
Melbourne killed it.
Your show in Melbourne looked amazing though in the torrential rain.
Yeah, I did feel like Taylor Swift then.
Yes.
Yeah.
The shows have been great. How was Sydney yesterday?
Sydney was fantastic. It's,
I saw a lot of people. I was actually driving the girl that you just met to her 4th party of the weekend, and we were driving through your crowd, the crowd for the festival, and it was the most happy-looking, best-dressed, eclectic group of people. It must be amazing to it feels like they must feel good before you even get out on stage, and then you get to make them feel that extra special.
Listen, they are fabulous, and they make the utmost effort in what they wear and how much generosity they give me. So yeah, it's the least I can do is just keep the party going. It was amazing. Like I said, I haven't been here for over 10 years, and I did a really cool festival called Laneway.
Oh, yes.
And, it was a lot of kind of head nodding people that I was on like a kind of side stage, and I had one album out at that time. It was not disco. It was kind of electronic
And it would have
soul.
been like 40 degrees as well.
It was, liked that.
Yeah, okay.
I hadn't learned about not wearing really high platform shoes on stage. I remember like wobbling around in Sydney, and then met some amazing artists, had the most wonderful time, but, didn't have 5 albums worth of material or over 10 years of people listening to me. So it was brilliant. But yeah, it was really lovely to meet my fans here, and they've grown, and they are loud and proud, and I love it.
So 5 albums in, I am conscious of time because you are chuffing off home after this chat.
Chuffing.
But tell us about growing up, because obviously you're doing a podcast with your mum. So I'm assuming, and this is just I'm assuming you had a very supportive, creative home life growing up that was filled with music and fun and things. Was this something that you were always going to do?
No, I was like,
I made that all up.
I know, like, we listened to music. My mum's a social worker, and my dad didn't live with us, but he was an investigative journalist. Like, they weren't.
Did he work for Panorama?
He still does. Yeah, he's like a dinosaur now.
That's like synonymous here with the
really?
Diana, the Princess Diana interview.
Yeah.
It's like the Panorama interview.
Yeah,
whenever I see that, I go, ooh.
So it's kind of a current affairs program.
Yes. So maybe it wasn't filled with music then.
It was filled with like my mum's vinyl collection and the radio and Kylie and Jason and the Dirty Dancing soundtrack and stuff like that. But like I obviously loved music, but I would sing in a choir when the age of 10, and that's kind of when I learned that I had a bit of a voice. But I was like a dumpy kid that like kind of got the main parts in the school musical, I think, because of my voice, not necessarily because of my acting abilities, and because I was kind of nice and probably easy to, I don't know, like it wasn't like we weren't jazz hands,
right?
But I did love musical theatre, but like I'd always get a cold before the performance because I kind of had like complete like anxiety, and I'd be like sniffling my way through my solo, and my mum would be a pushy Jewish mother and be like, sing out. So yeah, like it was creative, but like I went to quite an academic school.
Yeah,
it had brilliant music there actually that none of my friends who went on to do music used, such as Florence Welch. She was like already in a really cool band and playing like Scots and stuff. And then there was a band called the Maccabees who were really brilliant, and they broke up now. But like, so I was around lots of creative, brilliant people, but I didn't go to like Fame or like, the Brit School, have you heard of that, where Adele. Yeah. But my family we listened to music. We
what was on? What was on your mum? Like the one thing you remember in your mum's vinyl collection?
Like Barbra Streisand and Barry Gibb, Guilty.
Yeah.
Women in Love, Manhattan Transfer, Aretha, the Beatles. It was kind of stuff like that. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm playing it down, but it wasn't. It wasn't this bohemian.
Well, I guess
creative.
Everyone's childhood is just their childhood. Yeah.
But like it was, my mum encouraged me, and I got a really good education, and I was supposed to go and get a serious job.
I was going to say, what were you supposed to be doing?
Well, I was quite enamored by my parents' jobs. I found my mum's work as a social worker fascinating, and I used to work in my like school holidays as a court clerk, where you'd take notes of what was said in court.
That's pretty
cool.
That
was with like family law.
Oh, okay.
And I found that quite, heartbreaking, but also really interesting.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'll go and do family law because that sounds really interesting, and you advocate for people and you try and improve a situation. And so I had a place at law school. I did English at uni, but I had a place at law school, and then my friend asked me to be a backing singer for him, and I was like, I'll just defer it and I'll go on tour for a bit. And my mum was really like, yeah, go and do it. Like, go and have fun. Law can wait. And then what happened was I got signed, and then it wasn't on the cards. It wasn't like, I'm going to be a star. It was like other people being really cool and believing in me a lot.
and having obviously feels like a good support network with you,
Yeah.
so you can try, so you can fail if you need to.
Totally. And I didn't expect it to last as long as it did, and I was kind of very, very prepared to go and get a proper job.
So you weren't expecting to get signed. Talk to me about getting to release a debut album and the work that was involved in that. Was that something that came naturally? Was that the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your life, to put Devotion together in 2012?
I think it was a lot of kind of faking it till I make it in the studio, but also finding the right people. I had this amazing mentor who was in this very critically acclaimed band called The Invisible. His name is David Kumu, and he's fantastic. And we were kind of set up, and we did a session together, and I talked about my love for Sade. And I think I was loving the House of Balloons weekend trilogy thing at the time. And I was like, I want to do soul, but with electronic music, because that's what I've grown up on. I was doing dance vocals before that. And he was the most brilliant, kind, fantastic person. I was like, I like Prince. He was like, well, maybe you should listen to more Grace Jones. And I was like, okay, great. So it was like, I learned so much from him. It was the most nurturing environment. We got away. I think I got signed actually on a development deal where I was supposed to do an EP.
Yeah.
And that EP never came out. So props to the label. They let me do the album instead. And it did really, really well.
Well, nominated for a Mercury Prize.
Yeah.
It's almost like as good as it's going to get for a debut album.
Yeah.
So was the pressure then just fully on, or were you like, no, I'm good at this?
No, I think I felt like the pressure was on, and it was a bit terrifying.
Yeah, okay.
And I didn't feel necessarily prepared for it. But I think it was always people willing me on in the way that they believed in me. But I was just kind of then felt like I was playing catch up. But it was nice to be up for a Mercury this time on the 5th record. Because I was like, okay, I actually do know what I'm doing now. Really do. And
5 albums. And
and I feel like it's nice to get a nod. But like, it was just, I could enjoy it more.
That ! Feels good ! You must be very proud of this album. It's a banger from the start.
Thank you.
How do you feel going? Because I mean, again, 5 albums is no mean feat, and I'm sure there's many more to come. But how do you feel about, say, album 2, track 5? Like, do you go back and go, oh no, I could never listen to that, or is it just a snapshot in time for you, or are you kind of always moving forward?
I think it's a snapshot in time for me, and I think you have to be kind to yourself. I'm sure there's lots of things that I wouldn't do now.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I loved how you thought I was specifically talking about album 2, track 5. And I was but
I can't. There's totally. I think that mistakes are made, but they're kind of human, and also, I think I probably have more. Well, of course, I have more wisdom about, like, it's easy to reflect now, right? And say what I should have, would have done. But I have to think back fondly, because I think that they were all like stepping stones to get me here. And there was a reason that I got to get to a second record, got to do a third record, because some people really liked something on there. And I'm really proud of everything I've done. Yeah. And I kind of like that mistakes too. Yeah.
What's next when you get home? Anything big on the cards, or are you chilling out for a little bit?
So I'm on the telly at the moment doing this TV show. It's like a talent show for musical theatre.
For Mamma Mia?
Mamma Mia, yeah. And it's been really
fun. Is it fun?
Yeah. And we've got a live final when I get home.
Okay.
So that's going to be really nice to reconnect with the contestants and the judges. And my
Who knew Abba was still just kicking goals like crazy?
Which one?
Abba.
Just, I mean,
have you seen the Voyage thing in
amazing.
London? Everyone, even
it's
my
really
non-Abba friends, which is a lot of them, because I'm a 42-year-old man from Australia, but they go back and they go, that was magical.
That's the thing. You can't. People can try and knock ABBA, but you can't knock the songwriting and the way that it's brilliantly crafted. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've got so much respect for ABBA, and it's great. Abba Voyage is amazing.
In 50 years, do you see yourself as an avatar somewhere, just still singing songs from this album?
I mean, I'd like in 50 years. I mean, I'd like to still be doing it, but I'm happy to have the avatar which I'm younger in. But yeah, I'm doing that. What else am I doing? I was supposed to be in the studio, but I'm not sure whether that's gonna happen until January. And maybe actually it's good to just calm down a bit.
Yeah.
We're still doing the podcast.
When you're done with this, you can listen to your chat with Girls Aloud, you and your mum, which we've just recommended to. Well, you started listening to that in the car. No swearing just yet, but I hear that's.
Oh, there will be swearing.
It's coming.
But no, we've got more podcasts to do. We've got an amazing one next week that's coming out.
Excellent.
So that was quite a big one. When's this coming out?
Well, Friday, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
I think this week, yeah.
Okay, so if it's Friday,
yes,
yeah, we've got a biggie. Should I say it? We interviewed Cher.
Oh wow!
I know.
That's unbelievable. At
No,
your
that's on
house?
Wednesday. No, you travel for sure.
Okay, yeah. At her house?
We went to Paris.
Oh, did you?
We took the Eurostar. My mum took chicken soup on the
Oh
Eurostar
my God,
for sure.
I love that. And did she love it?
She took a few sips, and I think she enjoyed it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I love that. We let everybody introduce us to somebody to finish off this chat. So I know that's a hard question because you'd be meeting people and listening to things constantly, but anyone musically you'd like to introduce us to?
Well, I don't think you probably need introduction to her because the XX are so huge here. Anyway.
Yes.
But if people haven't listened to Romy's own album, Midair, it's fantastic. It's so brilliant. I adore her. Me and Romy are determined to do a duet together next year. We're going to get in the studio. I really love her. And if not Romy, then you should check out Cleo Soul. She's quite prolific with the amount that she's bringing out at the moment. And she's got just a heaven-sent voice. It's just a phenomenal voice. Who else? Yasmin Lacey's a great jazz singer from the UK. So there you go.
I love it. Jessie, lovely to meet you.
You too.
Good luck with your flight.
Thank you.
Getting back into that family mode with the kids.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see you out here again soon for some more life stuff.
I really hope so.
Yeah, and give Sydney food a go. I promise you we'll do you proud.
Listen, I'm relying on the Qantas Lounge now because.
Oh, no, don't do that. Okay, good.
Okay, well, where shall I eat in the airport?
Oh, in the airport.
Is the airport good here?
Oh, the international terminal. Nah, let's forget it. Let's forget this trip, and next time you come, give us some notice, and I'll give.
I have a list.
I'll give Trent a big list.
I have a list. It needs to happen. Can people start listening to my music a bit, and and I'll come back and eat.
Come back for the world tour.
Thank you.
Lift